Shanti. In this Raj Yoga meditation camp, we heard about the basics of Raj Yoga and what the main base is, the introduction of the soul, the introduction of the Supreme Soul, and the method and basis of Raj Yoga. But the lesson that we'll be having now will be on some practical aspects of Raj Yoga and how to apply the wisdom of spirituality in our practical lives. As there are some unanswered questions in our minds, and the more we are concerned about them, the more frustration is created in life. And they are related with the secrets of time cycle. In the world, in religion, it is always mentioned that there are deep secrets of karma philosophy and deep secrets of time cycle. And when human being does not understand the secrets or the significance of it, we are not able to practically apply them in our lives. And so the frustration goes on increasing, accompanied with anger, stress, etc. So, which are those questions which are unanswered? And what is the deep secret of time cycle? There are so many things that are said about time in the world. People normally say time flies. And when time is flying, it would not come back again. Time is very powerful. In Hindi also it is mentioned, Samay bada balwan hai. So time is so powerful, and how can we realize the importance of that time? Each and every time is demanding something from us. Together with time, everything is changing. Every time demands a response from the human being. And when time demands a response from us, and if we are able to respond according to time, time will enable us to move forward in our lives. But when we are not able to respond according to time's demand and move in a different direction, that time will be so powerful that it will start teaching us lessons in our life. Therefore it is said, if you cannot change according to time, time will force you to change. And not only that, but if we still don't understand what is time signaling to us, then time can kill us. Therefore, time is also called as Kal. Kal means death. Everything moves in a cyclic pattern with time. If we see the cycle of day and night, it is also constantly moving. The cycle of seasons is also constantly moving. In nature's cycle also, if we see, water evaporates, and when clouds are formed and the rain is there, the showers are there, the same water through the rivers go back to the ocean. This is also a cycle. And if we see the cycle of birth and rebirth, that is also continuously moving. So in this time cycle, everything that is moving is in a cyclic pattern. We also say time cycle. Cycle means that which has no beginning and no end. It is constantly moving forever. But everything moves in 4 phases. It has to go through 4 phases. The cycle of day and night also has 4 phases. Morning, afternoon, evening and night. Again after night there is morning, because it is a cycle. No beginning, no end. We have 4 seasons: summer, monsoon, winter and spring. Again summer is there. In the birth and rebirth cycle also there are 4 phases: childhood, youth, adult and old age. Similarly, this time cycle also has 4 phases, which are termed as Satyuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga and Kali Yuga. Golden age, silver age, copper age, iron age. Again after iron age, Kali Yuga, there will be Satyuga, because it is a cycle. Many people wonder, how can there be Satyuga when in Kali Yuga there is so much of adulteration, so much of corruption, so much of impurities, and how can an impure world become a pure world? Satyuga. Just as a dark night will get transformed into a golden morning. Who is transforming? The nature cycle is such that after the dark night, the golden morning comes automatically. Whether human beings desire or not, the golden morning has to come. If a person awakes throughout the night to see how the golden morning comes, he doesn't even realize when the golden morning has come out. Similarly, in nature's cycle, it is created in such a way that a great adulterated age, Kali Yuga, gradually gets transformed into Satyuga. And hardly people can ever realize, because it is nature that has everything practically settled. But everything has to complete the cycle within a duration period. Just as the duration period of day and night is 24 hours. Within 24 hours only the cycle has to be completed. Similarly, the cycle of seasons has to be completed in 1 year. Similarly, this time cycle of Satyuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga and Kali Yuga also has to be completed within its time duration, and that is 5,000 years. But whenever we talk about 5,000 years, people have so many questions. Where has this 5,000 years come from? Where is it written? What is the proof of the cycle that is 5,000 years? When in the scriptures it is said each age is of lakhs of years, how come you say that the whole cycle is of 5,000 years? If I ask you one question, is there any proof for lakhs of years in the scriptures? Is there a proof? No proof is given. We just accepted it. Without asking this question to the scriptures. How did we accept that? Is there a proof for 24 hours? Whoever must have calculated 60 seconds is equal to 1 hour and 60 seconds is equal to 1 minute and 60 minutes is equal to 1 hour. Where did he get this figure 60 from? If he would have divided into 100 seconds is equal to 1 minute and 100 minutes is equal to 1 hour, wouldn't this time cycle had gone? Would there have been any problems? The hours may have been less. The duration of 24 hours, the day and night cycle, would have remained as it is. Whether we divide it into 24 hours, or whether we divide it into 25 hours, or whether we divide it into 20 hours. There is not going to be any fluctuation in the day and night duration. But we never ask this question, where did he get this to 60 seconds from? And why did he divide it into 60 only and not 100 or not 50? We didn't ask for any proof, we accepted. And according to the 24 hours, we have set our daily routine. But if there were 20 hours in a day, in that duration, if it would have been divided into 20 hours, still our daily routine would have been the same. Adjusted in 20 hours. Because that was not going to fluctuate. That was going to be the same. We divided it into 60 seconds and 24 hours. Similarly, the cycle of 1 year is 365 days. And who said that? Modern science said 365 days. So we accepted. We never asked any questions. But if we see the Hindu calendar, how many days are there in a year according to the Hindu calendar? After 3 years, we get an extra month. So how many days in a year according to the Hindu calendar? 354 days in a year according to the Hindu calendar. Now which is most accurate, Hindu calendar or English calendar? We have not said that modern science said 365 days, so throw away the Hindu calendar. Have we done that? No. We have adjusted our worldly affairs according to the English calendar, and whenever we want to bring out any Muhurat or we have to celebrate any special occasion, we move according to our Hindu calendar. We have taken both the calendars, accepted both, and are moving with both. When Hindu calendar is also formed on a basis, on a scientific base. And it was the science of that age when India gave 0 to the world to calculate. So that was also based on perfect science. And that is why we have not discarded our Hindu calendar. We are moving with the same calendar. So which is correct? Have we ever asked a question whether the Hindu calendar is correct or the English calendar is correct? What is the proof? No proof was asked. We accepted it and we are moving forward with both the calendars in our lives. So 24 hours, no proof. Where did we get the 60 seconds from? No proof. Whether 365 days is accurate or 354 days is accurate, no proof. And we are asking for proof for 5,000 years. We have no proof for lakhs of years, each age lakhs of years, no proof. Why can't we accept 5,000 years? Actually, we have a proof for 5,000 years. According to the Hindu scriptures, it is said, Mahabharat war took place how many years back? Mahabharat war took place how many years back? Yes? 5,000 years. 5,000 years back, Mahabharat war took place. And according to the Mahabharat, in the last chapter of Mahabharat, it is mentioned, when there is Mahabharat in each and every home, that is the time when Mahabharat time has actually come again. Come again. So in the present time, what do we see? Is there Mahabharat going on in each and every home? Yes or no? Yes? So Mahabharat time has come again according to the scriptures, so that is 5,000 years. The characters that are shown in Mahabharat, do we see those characters practically in today's world? Do we see the character of Shakuni in today's society? Yes? There are many Shakunis. Do we see the character of Duryodhan in today's society? Duryodhan means the one who has misused dhan, wealth. So we see such children in the society who are misusing the wealth of their parents. Yes. Dushashan. Are we able to see Dushashans in today's society? Many. And still, the parents who are blind in attachment, who are not able to say anything to their children, do we see such parents also in today's society? Yes. So the same Mahabharata time has come again. History has started repeating. So 5,000 years, according to the Hindu scriptures. According to the Muslims also, it is mentioned in their religion that once in 5,000 years, the time of Qayamat comes. Qayamat means total destruction. And according to their holy scripture, the time of Qayamat is coming closer. So 5,000 years. According to the Christian religion, it is mentioned 3,000 years before Christ, there was heaven on earth. 3,000 years before Christ and 2,000 years after, now according to the predictions of Nostradamus, it is said that the golden era is to come again. So 5,000 years have completed. Then people have this question that according to the archaeology, we find some stones crores of years before the formation. How can that be correct then? Yes, that is also correct. One time cycle is of 5,000 years, but such time cycles have been repeated on this earth so many times. So the earth is crores of years old. So we get stones. There's nothing wrong in getting stones. So that is also correct. And 5,000 years, one cycle, time cycle, is also correct according to all the scriptures. How is the 5,000 years cycle moving about? If we see that there is swastika. And we apply swastika for all auspicious occasions. But if anybody is asked, what is the meaning of swastika? Why is it drawn in this particular manner only? Why is this sign said to be auspicious? People would say, because our ancestors have done it, so we have to carry on. It is an auspicious sign, that is what we know about it. But swastika, when Hindus draw in this particular manner, it is said that Hitler was also a great believer of swastika. But he used to draw it the other way round. And he used to say, that is most accurate. And Hindus say, this is most accurate. Now which is accurate? Then Hindus would say, because he had drawn it the other way round, that is why he lost everything in his life. Because this is the sign of auspiciousness. How? Swastika, this word comes from a Sanskrit root, suasti. Su means auspicious, asti means that which is. So, every moment of this time cycle is auspicious. There is no moment for which we can say, this is very bad. There is nothing like bad. Every every moment is auspicious. And that is why in the essence of Gita it is mentioned, hey Arjuna, what has happened for the good. What is happening for the good. And what will happen will also happen for the good. जो हुआ वो भी अच्छा, जो हो रहा है वो भी अच्छा, और जो होने वाला है वो भी बहुत अच्छा. There is no need to worry. All the three aspects of time are auspicious, are very good. There is nothing bad in this time. But then human beings have this question, but sister, there are certain events that are happening in our lives which are not appreciated, which are not welcomed in our life, which give us so much of sorrow and pain. How can we think that to be auspicious? It reminds me of a beautiful incident, that there was a brother who met with an accident and his both legs were fractured. So he was in the hospital. When we came to know about it, we thought of going to meet him in the hospital. So we took some flowers and we went to the hospital. And naturally when we would go there, what would we say? So I just said in a casual way, brother, remember God and everything will be all right. So as soon as I mentioned the word God, he got so angry and he said, don't mention the name of God in front of me. So I said, what happened? No, God is very bad. Whatever he does bad only. And he was saying such things about God that was beyond my imagination also. He was a pious man. He believed in God, but today he was like cursing God for whatever had happened. And again he was saying to me, sister, I never did anything bad in my life. I never thought of any evil for anyone. Always I had this attitude of helping others and doing good for others. Now why did God bring this test for me? So, we were not able to say anything. Why did God bring this test for you? How can I say that? So finally I realized the more I will remain standing here, the more his anger would go on increasing. So it is better to go out. So I came out of the room. And his wife came out with me and started saying, sister, if he said anything wrong, please forgive him. At this time, try to understand his mental state. So I said, but he is such a nice brother, a very pious man, a believer of God, and today an accident takes place and his attitude is changed. And he started speaking so much bad about God. How can it happen? So she said, it is not like that. And what is it? So she shared something with me and she said that he was the governor of some Lions or Rotary organization. And during his tenure, he had done something very good for the society. He was always doing something or the other good for the society. But that particular year he had done something really good for the society. And now that his tenure was coming to an end, there must be some international gathering of all the governors of the world somewhere. And he was supposed to go into that gathering. And there he was to be honored and awarded for the contribution that he had done for the society. And 10 days before, he meets with this accident and both the legs are fractured. And now within 10 days he will not get okay and go to that gathering. So every time when he thought of how all the governors would have gathered there and how in the meeting he would have been honored and awarded, and when he would come back to India, how they would receive him, give him a reception, and now nothing would happen. So again and again he was saying, when I did good for everyone, why did God bring this test for me? Somebody told him in front of us, why are you saying so much ill about God? God is not responsible. Actually, our karmas are responsible. Whatever karma you must have done sometime in your previous lives, you are experiencing the fruit for that. Why should you speak so bad about God? And he got more angry. And he said, well, I'm not refusing to pay for the karma that I have done. But after I would have come from the gathering and received my award, this test should come. Why did it come before only? Why should it come now only? So he was not really able to digest what had happened in his life. And that is why the stress level was also increasing, the anger was also increasing, there was great frustration that now he cannot go. We went away. After about 8 to 10 days, we thought, let us go and see that brother again. Maybe he must have calmed down by now. So we again went to the hospital. And when he saw us, he started saying, welcome sisters, welcome. Look, whatever God does for the best. So I was not able to understand why he is saying, and today his attitude is completely changed. So he took up the newspaper and showed me the news that the flight that he was going to go, that flight crashed. And all the passengers have died. So he started saying so many good things about God. God is so great benefactor. And he did not want me to lose my life. This is the greatest award that I have received from God for my good deeds, for my good acts. And then he started saying, look, the event had come in my life, but because I have got the blessings of all those people whom I did good to in the society, that event was so small. Otherwise today I would have been in the same flight and I would have also lost my life. But God as if gave me a new life by making me meet with a small test, a small accident. Now the accident became small. 10 days back, the accident was so big for him. But as soon as time revealed the secret of what good was there in this event, his mind changed. He started speaking good about God. Until the significance was not revealed, the frustration was increasing. So normally frustration, anger increases in our life when there is ignorance about some other secret of time cycle. And the wife started telling me, sister, if this knowledge would have come 10 days back, I would have been so happy. Because the worst days of my life were these 10 days. I don't know how much he had said bad about God, but whoever came and mentioned this word God, he used to get angry upon that person also, and sometimes a debate, discussion would take place in such a manner that would make me have this fear that the relationship would definitely spoil. And I have to signal everybody to come out, and taking them out of the room, I would join my hands and beg in front of them, please forgive him. Don't take his words for practical meaning in life. No. Please try to understand his mental state at this time. She said, I never asked for forgiveness for my karmas so much to anybody. I did not plead for in front of people about my karmas so much. That much I had to plead for him in front of everyone. So the worst days of my life were these 10 days. Why doesn't this wisdom come before only at the time of the accident? So I said, sister, thank time and thank God that time has revealed the significance within 10 days only. But there are certain events in our life where time reveals the significance after 1 month. And how does that month pass? With so much of anger and frustration and stress. And there are certain events whose significance is revealed after a year. And just imagine how that year passes. Just because we are not able to apply this practical wisdom in our lives. The wisdom of Gita, that whatever has happened for the good. Whatever is happening for the good. And whatever will happen for the good. So, time cycle signals us to apply this wisdom in our practical lives, and this is the practical application of spirituality. This is a spiritual wisdom. And when we have this applied spirituality in our life, everything starts changing. We start appreciating whatever comes in our life, because we are able to feel that there is some good significance in this happening also. But at that time some people tell us, but sister, at times whom we do not even know, whom we are not introduced to, still they behave in a peculiar manner with us. How can we think that to be good? It reminds me that there was once a program in Bombay, and I had to go to Bombay. And the program was with a company, a management training program, in the afternoon, one session from 3 to 5. In the evening I was free, so a couple came up to me and asked me, sister, if you are free in the evening, can we organize a lecture of yours in our colony? In our colony, there are very good people, spiritual-minded people. So we feel as if everybody should get the benefit of what knowledge you have. So can you spare 1 hour in the evening? So I said, no problem. In the evening I'm free, so you can organize any lecture if you want to. They were feeling so happy and they said, can we give the time 7 o'clock? Will you be able to reach there by 7 o'clock? So I said, definitely. 7 to 8 I can give you the time. So after that they also went away and we went away to our program. So when the program was over, 5 o'clock, after that there were some question answers and then some meeting with some people. This went on till 5:45. So the sister was with me. She told me, "Sister, now if we go to the center and then we go to their house, the traffic hours have started. And it is a long way. And if we get into some jam, traffic jam, maybe we won't reach there by 7 o'clock. So then I asked her, what should we do? So she said that, why don't we go straight from here? So I asked her, how much time will it take? She said, hardly 15 minutes. So I said, but we will be quite early. So she said, no problem. They are very good people. The whole family is very good. So even if we reach early, they won't mind. So I said, no problem, then we can go. So we directly went to their home and we were there by 6 o'clock. So when we went there, the whole family was sitting and watching TV. So seeing us, they did not expect us to be so early, 1 hour early. So seeing us, the parents, they signaled the children that close down the TV. But the children signaled back, we are not going to close back the TV. So the parents said, okay, lower the volume. So the volume was lowered and the drawing room was that only, the TV was kept there, and we also had to sit there only. So the parents lowered the volume of the program that was going on, and here they started talking to us. What happened, how was the program, how did things go on, etc. So definitely this would disturb the children in seeing their program. So the youngest child was about 13, 14 years of age. He came up to me and told me, sister, please don't mind, but can you remain silent for some time? No? In a very nice manner he said, can you remain quiet? So I also smiled at him in the way he was putting his whole thing to me. And he was trying to justify that the program that is going on, the serial that is going on in the TV is so good. And today is the last episode of the serial. So there are many suspenses which we would not like to miss. So that's why I'm requesting you to be quiet for some time. So if I had to sit in silence, what would I do? So I thought, let me see what are the suspenses that are coming up. What is he looking at? So I also started watching that TV program. And I could not understand what the story was. There was no link, no connection between two scenes also. The scenes were also completely different. And I don't know what suspense was coming up in between, that the children were very happy and they started clapping and saying, very good, it was so good, so good. And they were very happy about it. I could not understand anything from the serial which was going on. So finally when it ended, they were all very happy. What a beautiful ending was shown. And I could not understand what was good in that serial. So I just couldn't remain silent any further. So I called that boy and asked him, what was good in this? There was nothing like a story. You could not even understand what the story was. There was no connection between two scenes also. What was good? So the child explained to me, sister, you have not seen all the episodes. That's why you are not able to understand the whole story. But we had seen all the episodes, so we knew the story, what was the story. And the suspense that was being revealed in between the scenes, you were not able to understand because you did not see the episodes. But we were able to relate that particular event and the connection of it with the episodes, different episodes. So because we knew the whole story, we were able to relate it. And because you did not see all the episodes, you were not able to understand a bit. And saying this, he left. But he made me realize something very beautiful, that in this 5,000 years of time cycle, how many births do we have? And each birth is an episode. And now in this last period of Kali Yuga, which is the last episode, in the last episode there is nothing like a story. No two scenes are connected with one another in our lives also. There is nothing like a story in our life. There are no connection between the scenes, different scenes that we go through. And when we do not remember any of the episodes, we are not able to relate the present situation or the present happening. With which episode is it connected? I don't know. And that is the time when we feel so bad in our lives. Again and again we ask this question to God, why did it happen with me only? Because I'm not able to relate it with the other episodes. So God has revealed this secret, that whatever has happened for the good. Whatever is happening for the good, and whatever will happen will also happen for the good. Nothing is bad in this time cycle. Everything has a significance connected to it. The only thing we have to do is sometimes have that maturity and patience to wait for time to reveal that secret. Wait for time to reveal the significance of whatever has happened in our life. Then we shall see that our mental state is more balanced than the fluctuations that we go through. Now, how does this time cycle rotate? It is shown in the swastika form, which has 4 main parts, and all the 4 parts are equal. We do not know when it started. Just as the day and night cycle, we don't know when it started, whether it started at midnight 12 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the morning or 6 o'clock. We don't know. Yes, for maintaining the system accurately, we have said that after midnight 12 o'clock, the next day starts. But practically that cycle did not start at midnight. And the first phase of day and night cycle is morning hours, the best hours, the fresh hours. Similarly, this time cycle, we do not know when it started. But the first phase is said to be the golden age or the Satyuga, the best period on this earth. And it is also said to be the age of truthfulness, Satyuga, the age of truthfulness. Where there was no falsehood in this whole world, it was the age of truth. In other words, according to scriptures, it is also said as Surya Vansham. Where just like the Surya is perfect, sun is perfect, so all the souls in this age were in their stage of perfection. And it was termed as Sun Dynasty, Surya Vansham. So Satyuga, an age of truth and an age of perfection. For which in Bible there is something beautifully mentioned about this world, Sun Dynasty or Satyuga. And it is said in Genesis chapter 1 that in the first phase of time, God made man in his own image. Because before Satyuga it was Kali Yuga, and in Kali Yuga there was man. So he made man in his own image. Therefore we say gods and goddesses are many, but God is one. Those gods and goddesses whom we worship in temples, they are the image of God. God had created them in his own image. So these are those gods and goddesses who were also in the stage of perfection, all virtuous, with all celestial degrees complete. If we see this world, how is this world? Where everything was in its pure stage. The whole world is full of purity, peace and happiness. Where even nature was in its pure form. And human beings and animals were also in the pure form. That's why it was an age of peace. And complete prosperity was seen in that age, where souls descended on this earth in the most purest form, and that is how they were transformed into deities or divine beings. And in this world, who ruled? Sri Lakshmi and Sri Narayan ruled the whole kingdom of Golden Age. How do we come to know that Sri Lakshmi and Sri Narayan were the rulers of Satyuga? There is always a prefix that is attached to the name of Sri Narayan. And the prefix is Satya Narayan, ya Surya Narayan. Why is Satya or Surya attached to Narayan? Because he was the ruler, he was the emperor of Satyuga and Surya Vansham. That is why. As time passed, we see the second age coming, and the second age, which is known as Treta Yuga, Silver Age or Moon Dynasty. Just as the degrees of the moon starts varying, similarly the degrees of the soul also start varying from 16 celestial degrees to 14 celestial degrees. There is purity, peace and prosperity in this world also, but not to the extent of perfection of Golden Age. 2 degrees less. And who ruled this kingdom? Sri Ram and Sri Sita. How do we come to know that Sri Ram was the emperor of Silver Age or Chandra Vansham? The word that is attached to the name of Sri Ram is Sri Ramachandra. Sri Ramachandra means all his ancestors were Surya Vanshis who applied the tilak of Surya, but from where Sri Ram came onto this earth, another age began, and that was Treta Yuga or Silver Age, which is still remembered by the people of this world as Ram Rajya. And that is why Bapu Gandhi, the father of the nation, also saw this dream that if we cannot achieve the perfectness of Surya Vanshis, at least we can create Ram Rajya. And this is why he dreamt and visioned Bharat as Ram Rajya. Now many times people have this question, what type of acts did the deities perform? Why did they come down the ladder? Why did they decrease in their celestial degrees? 2 degrees, why did it lessen? What type of karma did they do? It was nothing of karma. But the transformation that is gradually taking place every moment, change is coming every moment, whether a person likes it or not. And everybody has to go through that change. Similarly, the deities also had to go through the change. In science, according to the law of thermodynamics, second principle, law of entropy, which says, and it is defined, that everything moves from an organized to a disorganized stage. So the principle of thermodynamics, second principle of thermodynamics is law of entropy, which says everything moves from an organized to a disorganized stage. It is natural process. Anything that we make new gradually depreciates and turns old. No old creation is made. Everything is made new. But with time there is depreciation, and the depreciation makes it disorganized, come into a disorganized stage. A building is new. After some time we see the depreciation and it becomes into an old place. We bring cloth from the market, new. Keep it in our cupboards for 10 years, don't use it. After 10 years we take it out. It is 10 years old. If we do a little bit, stretch the cloth, it will start tearing. But we didn't even use it. Doesn't matter whether you use it or not. Depreciation is there. It is reducing in its value. This is nature's cycle. Everything comes from the top to the bottom. Water automatically comes from the top or flows from the top to the bottom. From the bottom to top, it will not go on its own. You have to put some motor, then it will go up. But from top to bottom, it will flow naturally. This is the principle. And nothing can remain in one state throughout time. If we see a full moon is there for how many days? A moment. And from the next moment, again its journey is towards a dark night. And in the dark night, it remains only one moment. And then the next moment, it starts its journey back to the full moon. So nothing remains constant in this world. Everything has to go through change. Everything is changing gradually. So similarly, human souls also have to go through change. So from a pure stage to an impure stage, it has to come gradually. There is no karmas there. Everything has to go through that cyclic pattern of time. And this is how the third age comes, which is termed as Dwapar Yuga. And the hand of swastika, where in golden age it was in this position, means blessings, where each and every souls were blessed souls. In copper age, in Dwapar Yuga, the position is changed into this position, means begging. Dwapar, Satya Yuga is an age of oneness, unity. And that unity goes on for 2 ages. It's an age of truthfulness, a heavenly-like period on earth, Satyuga and Treta Yuga. But when Dwapar Yuga comes, it is an age of Dvaita. Satyuga and Treta is an age of Advaita. And Dwapar Yuga is an age of Dvaita. So from where the feelings of Dvaita come into human life. So naturally, when there is difference of opinion, clashes are there. And when there are clashes, there is sorrow and suffering and pain that we have to go through. And therefore it is said, Sukh mein simiran, dukh mein simiran sab kare, sukh mein kare na koi, agar sukh mein kare, to dukh kahe ko hoye. So when it is the time of happiness, nobody remembers God. And when there is time of sorrow, everybody starts remembering God. But if they would have remembered in the state of happiness, why should sorrow come? So in golden age and silver age, when it was the time of happiness, nobody remembers God. Everybody is enjoying life. So when in copper age sorrow comes, we start remembering God also. And when we remember God, definitely God would not just remain as a detached observer, He would respond to our prayers also. So how does He respond to our prayers? So all those deities who were in golden age and silver age, we start worshipping them because we do not know who the real God is. Human beings have changed from the soul conscious stage to a body conscious stage. And so when the sufferings increase, we start creating scriptures, we start creating temples, we start making the rituals, and we start worshipping God in the form of deities. Because nobody has the real introduction of who God is. What is that supreme truth? So just as in today's age, when we find that some great souls who are better than us, we also think them to be worship-worthy, and for those great souls also we have created temples. So similarly, for those human beings who were in copper age, for them, the deities of golden age and silver age who had recently passed, for them, they were worship-worthy. So they created temples of the deities and started worshipping them as God, thinking them to be as gods, as the supreme God, the supreme authority. But then, after that, the fourth age comes, when God, we remember God in different ways, but how would God respond to our prayers? It is not His time to descend, because the promise that He has given us in Gita is yada yada hi dharmasya. At the time of great irreligiousness, then only I descend. So in Dwapar Yuga, the irreligiousness has just began. So it is not time for Him to come. So during that time, He sends some great souls to this earth with a divine message. Outside Bharat, 3 main great souls descend with the message of God. And they are known to be the messengers of God. So first of all, Abraham comes with the message of God in the Far East, in the Middle East. Then Mahatma Buddha comes with the message of God and goes to spread that message in the Far East. And then Christ descends with the message of God and spreads that message in the Western world. In India, in each and every state, there was some or the other great soul that descended with the message of God. But human beings in Kali Yuga or even Dwapar Yuga hardly realize the message of God. And so wherever these great souls went, seeing the situation of that society, they started preaching. So the preachings are different, but the message is one. No religion teaches human beings to behave in a different manner. So the original message of all the religions is one. But seeing the situation of that society and the people's attitude, their preachings were different. So where Abraham went, what was the situation of that society? That there were no laws to govern human life. So in his preachings, he gave principles to govern human life. But it's a shame that the people of that religion hardly understood those preachings and hardly understood the message of God. That is why today also we find there are no principles governing human life. Similarly, where Mahatma Buddha went, what was the situation of that society? He saw two things, and so he preached upon these two things. The first thing he saw was there was no compassion in human life, no mercy for one another. And the karma was becoming adulterated. So he started preaching, have mercy for all. Mercy is the true religion. Have mercy for all the creatures of the world. And work is worship. So this was the essence of his preachings. But it's a shame that that society hardly understood this message. There is no mercy still for all the creatures of the world. If you go into any Chinese continental restaurant, what do they eat? What do the Chinese eat? If you go to any Chinese continental restaurant, what food do you get there? Crabs, lobsters, snakes. So many such things which nobody else eats in the world. Some of you might feel, how did sister come to know about that? Did she go into some hotel of that sort? No. Some years back I was on a tour to Hong Kong, China. And just as in Bombay there is a chapati by the seaside with small stalls of bel puri, pani puri and various things that people get, and especially in the evening time people go up to that chapati to have the snacks. Similarly in Hong Kong, the seaside is famous because there also the stalls are there. Various stalls in lines together and just a passage to pass from the middle. Now we had to go on an island to conduct a retreat program for the brothers and sisters there. So we had to take up a boat and we had to cross that seaside for 10 minutes. And as I was crossing by, both sides the small shops were there and people were having their snacks and food and everything. And the scene that I saw at that time, long snakes, and they were put on the big tawas and they were fried, and lobsters and crabs and cockroaches and what not. So that is the time when I realized why Mahatma Buddha had given this message to this society, have mercy for all the creatures. But it's a shame that they hardly understood this message. Recently you might have heard through the internet also and seen also that in Taiwan, human babies, 10 days, 15 days, they are sold to the hotel people for $2,000. And how human being bakes the whole baby or makes the soup of the baby and is eating that baby. So such is the time that has come, that no mercy for any creatures, but today human beings do not even have that much of common sense and is eating his own babies also, his own creation also. Such is the degradation of human values. No human values. So this is the state of the world today. Similarly, where Christ went, what did he saw in that society? He saw two things. And so he preached upon those two things. The first thing he saw was there was great falsehood in human nature. Human beings have started speaking so many lies in their lives. And the second thing was hatred. Human beings having hatred for human beings. So therefore he preached, love is God, truth is God. But it's a shame that the people of this society hardly understood this message. And so the one who is preaching on truth and love, what did they do with him? They tortured him. Not only tortured him, but put him on a cross. Nailed him on a cross. Just see the hatred they had in their hearts. That they sent this message into the whole world that we do not forgive our own great soul. How can we forgive others? And so wherever the Western people went into the world, they went as merchants to do business. Even in India when they came to do business. But coming here, what did they do? They sowed the seeds of hatred in the people and the kings and broke the rajyas that were going on, the kingdom that was there in whole of India. And by sowing the seeds of hatred and lies, using the falsehood ways, they took the whole kingdom in their own hands and established the British Empire. And when they gave back the kingdom, what did they do? What did they do? Divide and rule policy. Divided the whole kingdom into 2 countries, 3 countries, Hindustan, Pakistan, sowed the seeds of hatred, and so much of hatred that brothers are fighting amongst themselves for what? No reason. No reason is known up till now. And so whenever there are resolution meetings going on between the 2 countries, there is no resolution. No resolution because there is no cause. No cause for the fight. So how can there be resolution? The seeds of hatred are sown in the hearts of the people. And this is how the wars are going on. It is said that in the world there are 350 wars going on. And it is going on all those borders where that country was divided into 2. Either north, south, east, west, or different names are given to the country. But the war is going on the borders of all those countries which are divided. So divide and rule policy. So hardly the people of that society understood the message which their great soul had preached to them. And this is how the 4th age comes, which is the age of Kali Yuga, where unrighteousness reaches the heights, reaches its climax, and where there is so much of adulteration, corruption going on. In other words, we would say this is a Ravan Rajya only. Why Ravan Rajya? Because Ravan was not an Asur. He was a Brahmin. Ravan was a great intelligent personality. He was so much knowledgeable. He had the wisdom of all the scriptures. It is said that Ravan was so powerful he had Divya Astras to fight. So powerful. And there was no one in the world who was so rich as Ravan. His whole Lanka was made of gold. So much wealth he had. And he was a great bhakta, a devotee of Shiva. So all the four things which are necessary in life, artha, bal, buddhi or bhakti, all were there in the life of Ravan. And hailing from a high caste, Brahmin caste. But he had two weaknesses in his life, and that is why he met with Sarvanash. His kingdom ended. His reign ended. Why? The two weaknesses were, ego was at its climax, a great egoistic personality, and second thing was, he lost in his character. His character was degraded. So that is why he met with a Sarvanash. In today's world also, if we see, it is no less than Ravan Rajya. Why? Because the highest creature on earth is human beings, the highest amongst all the creatures. Human beings are very intelligent. They possess all the knowledge. The scientific knowledge has advanced so much. Not only that, but today we also have those Divyastras, missile power. So human beings are also powerful. Human beings are bhaktas also, great devotees. Today bhakti is not lacking in today's world. In every lane we find there is a temple. And at night times, if we see the glamour of the big cities, it is no less than Lanka shining. Isn't it? The glamour and pomp of today's world is such that it shines, glitters at the night time. So it is like a Suvarna Lanka only. So we also have all these four things, artha, bal, buddhi and bhakti. But human beings today has two weaknesses in their lives. Day by day, ego is also increasing in our lives. Small children, they have so much of ego, the parents, they are tired of their ego. They are frustrated when they see their children so egoistic. And the second thing is degradation in character. Human beings have also fallen from that elevated character. And so much of degradation is there. So much of loss in the human values is there. That which direction are we heading towards? We are also heading towards destruction. A total annihilation of this world. This is the future. So, at that time, God also has to descend, and He says, where each and every human being, what is he experiencing? Bondage. We are tied in bandhan, bondage. And not only that, we have lost our identity. We have forgotten our real identity, and that is why all the evils are reaching its climax to the heights. Human beings have become the slave of their sense organs. Human beings have become the slaves of vices. And so they have lost their identity. And today, on the basis of the vices, how have we created our identity? Lust, anger, ego, greed, attachment, jealousy, hatred. Just see the faces of human beings. Is this the real identity of human beings? And when we have forgotten who God is, So whom have we started worshipping today in the world? Sometimes we see people worshipping rivers. Sometimes we see people worshipping animals. Sometimes we see people worshipping Surya. Sometimes we see people worshipping fire. Sometimes we see people worshipping trees. Is that God? Is that the real identity of God? So we have forgotten our real identity, and so our lives is based on the vices, and we have created that identity that people start labeling us that he's such an egoistic personality, he's such a angry man, he's such a lustful person, full of jealousy. So this is the identity we have created about ourselves. And when we have forgotten the identity of God, we have started searching for Him in rivers, in animals, in plants, and in trees, in so many other, in 5 elements of nature, which is His creation. Nature is the creation of God. And where are we searching for God? So now it is we are heading towards the end of this cycle. But when we say this, what do human beings say? No, Kali Yuga is still a small child. There are still lakhs of years remaining. According to the scriptures, 4,32,000 years are still remaining. Now just imagine, if in today's age, there is so much of impurities prevailing, what will happen after 4,32,000? So Kali Yuga is not a child, but it is reaching its age, old age now. And that is why we find the last signs of Kali Yuga, according to one of the songs that I remember in Hindi, where it is mentioned, देख तेरे संसार की हालत क्या हो गई भगवान. What is the condition of your world, O God? See the condition of your world. And not only that, another beautiful song that I am reminded of, Sri Ramchandra कह गए सिया से, ऐसा कलयुग आएगा. What may not happen in that age? And the last signs of Kali Yuga are mentioned in this song. I am not going to repeat all those signs because you are very well aware of the last signs of Kali Yuga. But there is one sign which I always appreciate the most, and that is that when Kali Yuga is going to near its end, how would we come to know? According to Garud Puran, it is mentioned that you will come to know when the water of 4 wells will be accommodated in one well, but the water of one well will not be accommodated in 4 wells. That will be the end time, end period of Kali Yuga. And human beings are feeling, if the waters of 4 wells are going to be accommodated in one well, how come the water of one well not be accommodated in 4 wells? It is not those wells and that water, but that is the significance of human life. When one parents, they accommodate the expenditure and everything of their 4 children, and whatever is within their well, they accommodate in it. They educate them, they grow, make them grow, have better education, get into a better job, get into a better partnership with others, have a good life companion and everything. But when it comes to accommodate one parent in their old age, are the 4 wells able to accommodate? They make turns, 3 months turn. And if that is also not possible, then go to the old age homes. Today in the world, old age homes are increasing. Why children are not able to accommodate their parents? What a paradox of today's world. So this is the last sign of Kali Yuga. This is why Mother Teresa became Mother Teresa. How did Mother Teresa, an ordinary Sister Teresa, who was running a missionary school, how did she become Mother Teresa? One day, she was having a morning walk on the streets, and she heard a painful cry, a very painful cry. She did not understand who was crying, but she moved in that direction from where the cry was heard. So she saw that there was a leper, a person with leprosy, and he was in a dustbin. And he was in such a condition that he could not even move in that dustbin. And the mice were eating the flesh of that man. And so he just had to cry, just had to take out that painful cries every now and then. Couldn't do anything. So when Mother Teresa saw this scene, her heart started melting. What is the condition of this leper? She immediately took him out of the dustbin and asked him, "How did you get inside?" So that man started crying and saying, "Because of this disease, I have seen sufferings only in my life. And yesterday my son also was not able to accommodate me, so he threw me into the dustbin and said, 'Why don't you die?' Death is also such, it's still not coming to me when my flesh is being eaten up by the mice. Why is God not bringing death to me?" Mother Teresa could not listen to these words. She straight off went to a missionary people and said, "We need to do something about this people, lepers also." They said, "Look, we have come here to run the missionary school. This is not our business." So Mother Teresa gave up that missionary. She established a new missionary, and she took a vow to serve the lepers only. And this is how from an ordinary Sister Teresa, she became Mother Teresa. That man did not survive long, but in the end, he said a beautiful line, that the whole life I was sustained in the hands of sufferings, but today I am dying in the hands of happiness, giving me this hope that my next birth will be a better birth. So this is the condition of not just one parent. There are so many parents who are going through this condition, and where their children are not willing to look after them. So according to nature also we see that the imbalance that is coming up in nature is also signaling us. And the scientific evidences that we have is also signaling that the world cannot go on for years now. The pollution is increasing so much. The greenhouse effect, the global warming is taking place, and the ozone layers the holes are getting bigger and bigger day by day. And the source of oxygen is totally vanishing from this world. Some years back we had the forest department people here. And talking to them, I just asked them, according to the population explosion that we have on this earth, how much trees do we need? How many forests do we need to survive, to get the oxygen for human beings? So they said, at least we need 33% of forest on this world for this population to survive. So I asked them, how many percent of forest do we have in this world? So they said, on paper 14%, practically 11%. And if that also is reduced to 9%, human survival is impossible. Because we won't have that much of oxygen to survive. So this shows that the imbalance in nature is also creating the worst calamities of this time in this world. We have great Richter scale earthquakes, we have tsunamis, we have volcano eruption, we have great cyclones, and on the basis of inflation that is increasing in the society, in the world, people are looting and killing one another. So that also shows that this world is going towards its destruction. And all the missile power that we have in this world, I read a statistic somewhere, how many missiles do we have on this world, on earth? And it is said, the missile that we have on this earth is equivalent to destroy this whole earth 35 times. Or we can destroy 35 such worlds. That much of ammunition we have on this world. So now all that is computerized, controlled. So do you think that it will stay there forever? There will be no use of it? Definitely there is going to be a use. Any time in the computer, the virus can just enter. And if a virus enters, what will happen? You can imagine. Supposing they have all the protection and they would not allow the virus ever to enter. But what if the virus enters the human mind? Huh? Today in the world we find people, more and more day by day the schizophrenic cases are increasing. And when people are becoming schizophrenic, what happens to them? Whenever there is a schizophrenic attack, they become wild and they become destructive. And a person who is looking after that computer, seeing whether something, signals are coming or not, and if he gets a schizophrenic attack, what will happen? He will just press the button, kill the whole world. That's all. So how much time that will take? Therefore it is said, man proposes but God disposes. Now the time has come to dispose of this world and create a new world. So we cannot take along this world. There's nothing left in this world. No resources are having its richness in this world. So the world has to go through great transformation. But when we say these words, people ask us, then how much time is left? Huh? How much time is left? What do you think? Not much time now. So many people ask us, if God has given you all the knowledge, maybe He has shown you the date also, told you the date also, when the world is going to come to an end. Would you like to know the date? Then would you able to live happily after knowing the date? So we say God gave us all knowledge, but it was very good that He did not reveal the date. Why? Because if a person is told that you have 24 hours now, whatever you want to do, how much you want to remember God, remember, you only have 24 hours. How much will he be able to remember God? Not at all. He will become so time conscious and he cannot become God conscious. So he can't remember God. If we ask him, okay, if you cannot remember God, whatever wealth or property you have, donate it and give it in dan, and at least earn the punya of it, earn the charity of it. How much is he able to donate? Not at all. Because after 24 hours, if I don't die, then what will happen? He does not trust time now. So he cannot remember God, he cannot earn charity also. So this is the condition of the human beings. That is why God revealed the entire knowledge. But the best part is he did not reveal the date when the world is going to come to an end. But he has given this message, two things, to the present time human beings also. So now is the time of irreligiousness, and God also has to descend on this earth. And on this earth in India, in Bharat, because that is the land of spirituality, in an ordinary human being's body, and it is revealing the knowledge of yoga and the wisdom, and giving us this message that now it's time to go back home. The world is coming to its end. We are going through great transformational period. So in this present time, seeing the condition of the society, he also gives us only two teachings, that's all. And which are those teachings? The first thing is, purify yourself, be holy, be yogi. These two things he tells us. But it's a shame that the people of the society today, cannot understand this message as well. And what do they say? Sister, if everyone will become pure, how will the world continue? It reminds me of an incident that once I had gone to a city, and there was a 7 days lecture course, a series of 7 days lectures. And every day many people used to come to listen to those discourses. Now it happened so that on the last day it was a feedback session, sharing of experiences. So one brother got up and he shared his experience and said that I've listened to this knowledge 7 days continuously, and it is so logical, practical, rationally explained, everything very clear. But till today, we were always afraid of one thing that this Brahma Kumaris used to say, and that is why we never came to listen to what they were saying. So I said, if it is so logical, practical, which was that one thing that you are afraid of? So he said, everywhere this misunderstanding was that the Brahma Kumaris, they make husband and wife into brothers and sisters. Now what is the need for Brahma Kumaris to make them brothers and sisters? We don't make them brothers and sisters. Someone might have told you also, when you are going to Mount Abu, be careful of where you are going, so that you do not become brothers and sisters. No, Brahma Kumaris, they don't transform anyone into brothers and sisters. Whenever you went to the temples and you sang the praise of God, oh God, thou art my mother and father. Tvameva matascha pita tvameva. You sang these prayers or not? Everyone? Or only the brothers sang and the sisters said something else, that my husband's mother and father, so my in-laws? Did you say that to God? So when you are singing these prayers, oh God, thou art my mother and father, who are you then? Who are you then? And who taught you these prayers? Is it the Brahma Kumaris that taught you these prayers? No. And why defame the Brahma Kumaris? The Brahma Kumaris gives the message of God. Be holy, be yogi. That's all. Whether you want to apply it in your life or not, it depends upon you. You are independent of that, for that. There is no compulsion. But why has God given us this message? There is a significance behind that also. That if we see according to time, the disease that is increasing in the world, the one disease which has no cure, and that is, which is the disease? AIDS, which has no cure. So time is also signaling us that we need to develop some principles in our life to purify our life and be holy and be yogi. Otherwise, we'll become victims of time, victims of such disease. Not only that, but today if you take up any newspaper throughout India or in the world also, there is one news which is published every day, and that is of abuses. The various types of abuses in the society. The greatest news is that round the world. And not only that, Is there any protection for these abuses? There is no protection. And what do you think? Are these abuses going to increase or decrease in the society? What does your wisdom say? Will it increase or decrease? It will increase, definitely. So what is the aid or the protection that we have to adopt at that time? There is no such protection. There is no magical powers that are going to come at our aid in such times. According to the scriptures, Ravan, who was so powerful, he hypnotized Sita and brought her to his Lanka, but he was not able to keep in his own palace. He had to keep her in the gardens, Ashoka gardens. And he could not touch Sita after that. Which was the protection Sita ji had with her? A small piece of grass, and she challenged Ravan, look, if you move one step forward, you will get burnt. That is the power that I possess. So what was that power? The power was of purity. The power was of brahmacharya. That is the only protection, because when we observe purity, when we observe brahmacharya, celibacy, we generate such pure energy waves and we create an aura around us. And in this pure aura, we are safe. No such Ravan or no such impure being can ever touch you also. This is the only aid which is going to be useful in this present time. So God, who is the knower of all the three aspects of time, He is warning us that if you want to remain safe in this present time, you need to develop this energy. You need to develop these positive energy waves around you. Then only you will remain safe in this environment. It is not that God does not want to help us. He wants to help every child of His. But who is ever pure? If we want to receive His help, we need to develop that worthiness of receiving His help also. If we do not have the worthiness, how is He going to save us? So that is why He is giving us this message. Following it or not, it depends upon you. Many a times people tell us also, Brahma Kumaris, they do not eat the food prepared by somebody else. Do they feel that others are of lower category than them? No, we do not feel that. There is also a significance behind this principle also. Today you stay in the society and you are very well experienced that when people have jealousy for one another, and if they want to just remove that person's identity, what would they do? In the food they mix something, such things, some magic is applied to that food, and when the person eats the food, his intellect stops working. We see many times, we hear such news from the society. Some people like you only come and share this news. That the person was doing very well in his business, progressing very fast, and in his company was known by everyone, and everybody appreciated him. But there was someone who was jealous about him, and so he mixed something in his food only, and today he is wandering like a wildered person. He doesn't do anything, he doesn't earn, he doesn't do any business, nothing. So you know such people, isn't it? Whom to trust? When you have your grandchildren and you send them to school, you advise them, child, if anybody gives you chocolate, ice cream, biscuit, should he take? No, why? Why not? Are others of lower category, that's why? No. Because you also know what time you are going through. And so if people have some or the other animosity, they would take out that animosity by giving and mixing something in the food itself. And not even that also. Recently somebody told me that there was a young boy, 11 years old. Since some days, he was very clever boy, very nice boy, but since some days he was not feeling good, as if he had no strength left in his body and as if he was draining. So the parents, they showed the family doctor. So the family doctor advised, get his blood tested. When they got the blood tested, the boy had AIDS. Now an 11-year-old boy, how did he catch AIDS? When the parents have no AIDS. So how did the boy develop AIDS? So the doctor asked him, did you have any food outside somewhere? So he said that some days back, I had pani puri, golgappe. So the doctor asked him, where did you have this? So he took them and showed the place where he had the golgappes. Now the doctor asked the person who was making those golgappes, who owned that small stall, to get his blood tested. And he had AIDS. Now what happened when he was cutting the vegetables, he cut his finger. And he didn't take care of that. And with that same finger, he mixed the water with his hands only. So those blood cells went into the water. Now this boy, when he ate those golgappes, he had ulcer in his mouth. So when he ate those golgappes, those cells got mixed with his blood. And this is how he has developed AIDS. So where is it safe in today's world? Is there any place safe? Some people say we should go to big hotels and good hotels and have food there, we can have there. But which hotel would you say to be the best hotel? You don't know what is happening in the kitchen. You don't know what are the type of people who are cooking the food there, whether they possess AIDS or not. And when they have small cuts, they don't take care of that. So where is it safe? So if we do not observe these principles, we will become victims of time. Now it is up to you whether to accept what God says or whether to lead your own way of life. Then a question arises, then how will the world go on? The world will definitely go on. 2000 years back, how did Christ take birth? If Virgin Mary could give birth to Christ, nobody said that it is any adulteration there. No. Today also we worship Mother Mary. So 2000 years back, if Christ could take birth from a virgin, according to our scriptures also, how did the Pandavas and Kauravas, how did they take birth? With the power of mantras. So in India also, we had that system. With the power of mantras, children were created. Not only that, how was Pandu, Dhritarashtra and Vidur created? Through the power of Drishti. And how was Sri Krishna created? Through the power of yoga. That is why he is said to be Yogeshwara. The one who was created with such a pure method, yoga power. That is why we worship him so much. And some people ask us, but what is the proof that with yoga, with a pure method also children can be created? God knew that Kali Yuga people want proof for everything. So today also in nature he has kept one bird who creates on the basis of a pure method, and that is a peacock. A peacock. Throughout the cycle of 5,000 years, this is the only birth, this is the only bird which creates on a pure basis. Till the end of Kali Yuga. That is why Sri Krishna has adopted a peacock feather in his crown. Because as Sri Krishna is pure, this is the only bird which is pure throughout. No other bird feathers that he adopted in his crown. So this is why. So there is a pure method to have the progeny continued. So the world can be continued. There is no problem for the world. The world will go on with a pure method also. But now the fate is in your hands. Kismat is in your hands. Why? Because many a times brothers and sisters invited you to come to Mount Abu, let us go to Mount Abu. What did you say? Whenever God would desire, we would come there. So now that you have you come with your own desire or on the basis of God's desire? What do you feel? Huh? God's desire. But now when you go from here, whose desire will you follow? Your desire or his desire? Huh? God's desire? No. Now it is your desire. Because now God has brought you to a position from where there are two roads. One road going towards Satyuga and another road going towards becoming the victims of time. So on which road you have to go, that is in your hands. It reminds me, in the end, I will just like to share a small story, that once Narad went to God, and at that time he saw God seeing a diary. So he asked God, God, what are you seeing today? So he said, this is a special diary I have. So what is written in the special diary? So God smiles and said some names. Whose names are there? So God says, they are the names of those people who remember me the most. So Narad was very happy. God, my name must be the first one. Because there is no one else who remembers me as much as I do. So God also smiled and said, yes, your name is the first one. Still Narad was not satisfied. So he asked God, can I see the diary? So God gave him the diary and he saw his name appearing first of all. So he was very happy. He started looking whose names are there in this diary. And he started looking for the name of Hanuman. And he saw that the name of Hanuman was not in the diary at all. So he gave the diary to God and went off to look for Hanuman. And he saw that Hanuman was sitting underneath a tree and remembering God. So he said, stop all this. So Hanuman said, why? He said, I just came from God's place and he showed me the diary in which he had written the names of all those who remember him the most. And your name did not appear in the diary. So you are not remembering him from the heart. But Hanuman was not the one who was going to feel about it. So he said, well, I do not remember him to get my name enrolled in the diary. I am sitting in his heart only. I know that. So Narad went away from there and after a few days again went to God. And he saw God was looking at a small diary. So he asked God, what are you looking today? So he said, this is my personal diary. What is written in the personal diary? So God said, there are some names written in the personal diary also. Whose names are written in the personal diary? So God said, those names are written in this personal diary whom I remember the most. So who is more fortunate? The ones who remember God or the ones whom God remember? Who are fortunate? Huh? Ones whom God remember. So you know where your names appear? In which diary? In the personal diary. It is not that many people in your town, hometown also remember God. But whom God remembers are only a few who have reached this land, this holy place. So you are those most fortunate ones. But now whether you want to remain in this diary or you want to get out of this diary, it depends upon you. Isn't it? Because when God is creating a new world order, a golden aged world, He is not creating by elections. He is creating by selection. So definitely He must have seen some worthiness in you. So that's why He has selected you for becoming a part of that new world order. But now whether you want to remain in that list or not, it depends upon you. So that is how you are the creators of your own fortune. God has created your fortune, but now whether you want to increase that fortune or not, it depends upon you. So this is the secret of time cycle. This is what time cycle tells us. Okay? Om Shanti. 2 minutes in the remembrance of God. So 2 minutes we shall sit in the remembrance of God.
पवित्रता के हे मंत्र दाता, पवित्रता के हे मंत्र दाता, हम पर तुम्हारे एहसान लाखों।
पवित्रता के हे मंत्र दाता, हम पर तुम्हारे एहसान लाखों।
तुम्हारी शिक्षा से चल रहे हैं, तुम्हारी शिक्षा से चल रहे हैं, सन्मार्ग पर अब इंसान लाखों।